Thank you. I greet you all in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Good evening. Good evening. It is a great joy to be here, to pray together with you and to share about our mission work in Africa, our mission work in Kenya, especially from the diocese of Eldoret and Northern Kenya, where I am the new bishop. When Father Christos asked me what will be the theme of my presentation, I told him that everything is new. And he said, so what do you mean? I said, yeah, it's new bishop, new diocese, new mission. So let's say, it will be about new diocese, new bishop in the diocese, and new work that is going on there. But before that, I want to bring to you greetings from our Pope and Patriarch Theodoros of Alexandria and all Africa, and from the diocese of Eldoret and Northern Kenya. I want to thank you, most importantly, because of your support that we received for St. Anthony Orthodox Girls Secondary School. When Mother Johanna came and shared with you about the need that was there, we received your generous donations, and the support that you gave us made our girls to study all the way. And last year we had our first national exam to qualify them to go to the university. And out of 47 girls that we had as candidates, 14 of them managed to go to the university. So that is something that is very historical. It has never happened that way in most places in Kenya, to start a school and have such a number to qualify to join the university. And it is through your support, because they was able to eat, they were able to, have uniform, have a place to sleep, and get good education. And of course, others will be joining other institutions. So the school is going on, but it is not under me now. It is under a new bishop that was sent there called Panaratos. He is there now and is taking care of the school. So I begin my new mission in the new diocese of Eldoret and Northern Kenya. And actually, this is where I was born. So I went back home. So I get the opportunity to see my mother. My dad passed away many years ago. But I get the opportunity to see my mother, maybe once in a month, although I'm not very far from her. But the work that I'm doing is a lot, so I don't get chance to go back to the village. But she is there, and she's happy that I'm close to her. So I want to say that growing up as a young child in a village, I had no idea, first of all, what the Orthodox Church is. I grew up with, in a family that nobody was going to church. But at some point, my older brother became Anglican, where he was going to school. So when he came home, I followed him to the Anglican church. And then in the process of that, I was baptized in the Anglican church. I grew up in the Anglican church. And after high school, when I returned back home, because it was a boarding school, I found that there was a priest in our village who was actually Orthodox and calling people to join the Orthodox Church. And those people were my parents and others, and myself as well. So I became Orthodox in 1994. And then in 2 years' time, I joined the seminary school in Nairobi. And when I went to the seminary school in Nairobi, I saw a new world. My heart was captivated by the spirituality at the seminary school. And I remember telling the bishop, who was the dean of the school, that I would like to serve the church as celibate. And he said, are you okay? And I said, yeah. And he said, you just came the other day. You are actually a convert. You don't even know much about the Orthodox faith, and you want to take this direction that is not easy. But I told him, that's what I'm listening to my heart, Your Eminence. I said, no. That one is too much a rush. And then he was transferred, and a new bishop came in 1997. And when the new bishop came in, he asked this very important question. He said, how many candidates, actually, how many celibates do we have in Kenya who are ready, to become candidates for ordination as bishops in the future? There was none. And he said, who will take care of the Church of Kenya when we shall not be there? Because most of the bishops are from Greece. So he said, who will take care of the church? We need people, indigenous people from Kenya. And that is when we got now the opportunity. Those whom we were actually prepared, ready to put our paperwork, and then they accepted us for ordination after everything. And in 1998, I was ordained as a priest, a celibate priest in 1998. And I graduated in 1999 at the seminary school, and then he gave me work to do as a storekeeper at the seminary school. And that was a very big test for me because, being a storekeeper, making sure that there is, you give out food for cooking, go for shopping, and do all these kind of things. And I remember one time, the bishop actually assigned me to do a lot of work. And everything that he told me, I was saying, yes, Your Eminence. Yes, Your Eminence. And then I forgot some of the things. And then when he returned back, he came and he realized that I had not done the most important things that he wanted me to do. And he called me, and instead of telling me slowly, he was shouting at me. And he was like, why I told you to do this, you did not do. I made a mistake to ordain you. And I went, to him and I told him, Your Eminence, you should not be shouting at me. Just tell me. And he said, no, I am actually blaming myself. Why did I ordain you? Anyway, so, he forgave me, and we continued. And then in the year 2000, he actually secured scholarship for me to go and study, or to come and study at Holy Cross School of Theology in Boston. So I came in 2001 to study at Holy Cross, and I graduated 2005. And then I went back home for a few months, and then went to Greece, to Thessaloniki, to study Greek language for 1.5 years. And I was supposed to continue with my studies in Greece, but I made a mistake. I learned Greek so quickly that I was so proud of myself. And I started communicating with him, with my bishop, in Greek. And he said, that is the reason why I sent you there. There is nothing else that you need. It is enough. Stay home and help me. So I stayed at the diocese, at the seminary school. He gave me work to do, to teach, and to become the director of the archdiocese. And all that went on from 2007 until 2014, when the Holy Synod elected me as his assistant bishop. And then 2015, they created dioceses in Kenya, because there was only one archdiocese in Kenya with one bishop. But that was really a lot of work for him, because already there were 142 priests under one bishop for the whole of Kenya, many churches everywhere. It was very difficult for him. So they decided to create two dioceses, the Diocese of Kisumu and the Diocese of Nyeri. That is where I was sent, and another bishop called Athanasius of blessed memory was sent to Diocese of Kisumu. So when I went to Nyeri, I started to put everything together. And when I went there was completely nothing. There were churches, there were priests, but there was no office for the bishop, there was no house for the bishop, there were no good churches. A lot of things were needed. So I had to put everything together and to start raising money to build churches, to build schools, to build orphanages, because there were many children who were in need. And that is how St. Anthony Orthodox girls came up, because there were many girls who were not going to school because of lack of school fees. And I said, if we may not help all of them, when we help one or two, glory be to God. That is why we brought all the girls that we were able to bring them, and it was great joy to see them come in. Others were not Orthodox, and then when they came in, they got baptized and became Orthodox, and it was a growing family that I did not really want to leave that place because of the school, because of those girls. But I have to be obedient. And so it happened that way. But I want to share and say that when they elected me as the Bishop of Nyeri, I went back to the Patriarch of Alexandria and I asked him, before we left the synod, Your Beatitude, you have sent me to go to the Diocese of Nyeri. I am going there and there is nothing. There is nothing. There is no money. There is no office. There is no house. There is nothing completely. How am I going to begin? What am I going to do? In my heart, in my mind, I knew that when I go and tell him there is a problem, he will dip his hand into the pocket and say, here is money for you to go and begin. But he told me something else that I did not like when I walked out of that room, but I had to be obedient, because he said, my son, go and begin from zero. Go and begin from zero. And I kind of stood there for some few seconds, and I'm like, I'm becoming disobedient. So I left. But when everything else unfolded, when I went back to Nyeri, when I wanted to do something, it was happening. When I wanted to build a school, it was coming up together. When I wanted to buy motorbikes for the priests, it was happening. Then I knew that was a blessing, to go and begin from nothing. That was enough. So even when I went to Eldoret as the new bishop there, I never asked him anything. I just left because I knew that blessings and goodness will continue to follow me. And so I want to share with you today what is happening there in the Diocese of Eldoret. It's the same things that I experienced in Nyeri, I am also experiencing here. The only difference is that I can speak the language of the people because I was born there. And the people in this side of the diocese are a little bit different from those ones in Nyeri. When I want to do something, they participate. They are helping me. So they are making my work easier. If I say I need something to be done, let us all come together, they will come. In the other side, they will be like, why can't you look for money and do that work? In this other side, people say, don't worry about it, we will do it. So it is easier to get things done in an easier way and in a cheap way because they provide the manpower that is needed. So I want to introduce you to this, and I will be explaining as we move on to save time. Yes, that is our Patriarch, Theodoros of Alexandria. He will be celebrating his 20 years in October as a Patriarch of Alexandria. So, and we will be there to celebrate his anniversary of 20 years. We continue. Of course, you know this one. We move ahead. And that is the map of Kenya. So this is the map of Kenya, and Nairobi is over here, is the largest one. Then we have Mount Kenya. This is where I was, and now I'm here. So the reason why it is called Diocese of Eldoret and Northern Kenya is because of this part here where we have the Turkana people. And the Turkana people kind of like feel they are not part of Kenya because of their situation, the condition of life there. Those people are really suffering. You know, there is no water, there is no food. You know, schools are not there, maybe one or two, a lot of challenges. And so the people there, when they come, there is nothing green in Turkana. Mother Johanna knows that. She was there. There is nothing green in Turkana. It's dry, dry, dry. So when they come to Nairobi or any other place down south, they say that we are going to Kenya. So Turkana look at themselves as if they are not part of Kenya because of their life situation. You know, very hard life. So we have Turkana up here, and we will actually maybe in October elect a bishop for Turkana people alone so that he can focus on them because they need water, they need food and all this. So then there is the Diocese of Kisumu over this side over here. So that is how it is. Hopefully in the future we will create another diocese in the middle here because we have many churches there as well. So this is my enthronement when I became the Bishop of Eldoret. This is my enthronement, and Mother Johanna was there during my enthronement, and she is not somewhere close in the picture. But yes, this is the patriarch, and you know we were doing it outside because there is no big church. There is no cathedral that we can say everybody can be there. So we had tents outside, you can see that. And my mother over here, she had said she was not going to come because, you know, she's old and all that. But the last day she said, "Can you tell him to send a car? I want to come there." and she came. Continue. So I formed the council to help me with the administrative work of the diocese. So I'm just showing you the part of the administration. Continue. And these are the clergy that I met. And these vestments, when I had gone to Romania, a monk decided to make the vestments for me for the Diocese of Nyeri. So when I went to Eldoret, he said, "Where can I send you the vessels?" I said, "Send them to the Diocese of Eldoret." and so, yeah, they were able to have them. Yes. And so these are the papadias, are the wives of the priests, presbyteres, matushkas. And I wanted to meet them and to know them. You know, for me as a bishop, I like to know my people. I like to know all my priests. I want to know their wives. I want to know their children. So what I did was to call them and be able to know each other. So this was the first meeting. And so we've done some few ordinations. This is actually the first ordinations of Philaretos and parishes, and they are now serving in in their respective parishes. What I have done actually is because we have 63 churches and 52 priests. So you can see that there are some churches that are being served by one priest, 2 churches per priest. So these are seminarians that I was able to manage to send them to the seminary school. They are all now at the seminary school, and that when they graduate, you know, one after the other one, we will be able to send them to the respective parishes so that they can have a permanent priest. This boy here is, I usually say, is a new catch in a place where we have not had orthodoxy. So it's from a new area. Nobody is Orthodox there. He's the only one. So now, when he will finish the seminary school, we already have land. He has given us a lot of land for free to go there and establish Orthodoxy. So we will be able to have Orthodoxy in his place, and it will be a great mission to begin that. And these are the readers. We call them catechists. And we are actually training them right now so that they can help the priest. The priest may be coming from far, and so the catechist will be helping to teach the people and to be there for the people when the priest is not there. So these are very, very important people that we know we want to take care of them in our diocese. We have so many young people. And what I'm trying to do is to organize seminars and bring them together so that they can know much more about the faith. I started, with this group, and you can see Mother Johanna was there, and it was wonderful. So we did another one this year. You will see as we continue. And we had this one that we had this year, we had 640 who came together. And it was beautiful. And I'm looking forward to having 1,000 this year. Yes, this is it. This was the youth seminar, and we were able to buy T-shirts for them. We wanted something new. You see, the first one, they had no uniform. So the second one, we had T-shirts. And so we are looking forward this year, at the end of this year, to have new T-shirts again, different color. Something exciting for the young people. And they are really happy. And you can see, the bishop is here, actually. This is me. And we were able to walk like 6 kilometers on foot, just on the road. And we were displaying all these banners so that people can know who we are. I discovered that people don't know much about the Orthodox faith. So this was a great mission for the people to know and to learn about us. This is the Mothers' Union, a meeting for all the women. And when he wants to help you do something, yes. That is part of mission. Wonderful. Thank you.
Started from zero.
That is what happens when you become humble, So, go back, please. Now that you are comfortable, you want to rush. So we invited the women to come for a meeting. Actually, that was the Sunday of forgiveness. And there were so many that we did not have enough space in the church. So others were outside. So when we were doing the service of forgiveness, I told them, let us do it outside. So they had to line up, and then I told them that I'll be asking you for forgiveness. Then you ask forgiveness on the person opposite you, standing opposite you. And that is what happened. And it was beautiful. For the first time, they had never seen something like this. These are our schools that we are sponsoring. And this school here is in a place that it is really, very difficult. The kids here don't even have shoes when they are going to school. And that is why you see that we do not even show the down part of it. But they are really suffering. So what I did was to organize so that they can have a meal every day when they go to school. Because most of them don't go to school because there is no food, and they go very far. They walk miles and miles to school. So now that we are able to provide food during lunch time, we have many kids coming to school. And the meal that they eat, when they are at school can be the meal for the whole day. That when they go back home, they will have to sleep because there might be no food. So the school is able to provide food for them. And then now the parents are sending them to school knowing that they will not be hungry. So if there is something that really touches my heart is to see these little guys here have a meal, even if it is once in a day. So this is another school that this is a high school that we are sponsoring. And this school started with actually 14 students. But now they have 680. This school over here. It is amazing how it has grown, and it's doing very well. It is the government is actually taking care of the school, but the church is sponsoring the school. So it is under the Orthodox Church. All right. So the government cannot do anything without consulting me as the bishop that is sponsoring the school. So how do I sponsor the school? How do I own the school as a church? So I give scholarship to 2 students. And that is something that now they know that I'm taking responsibility. And sometimes when there is maybe a building that needs to be built, I also contribute. If there is a teacher that is needed, I can also provide, send the teacher to the school so that they are able to help with educating the children. That is how I take responsibility, and we have the name. And actually the school here is called Bishop Neo High School. So my name is also there. So we have the school, but the government is paying the teachers and everything. This is the school. This is the 680 that I was telling you. It has grown and grown and grown. And so we do pastoral work. Pastoral work is actually chaplaincy once a week for like 1 hour. So we go there and we pray, and we do prayers the Orthodox way. And this does not mean that we are actually indoctrinating them, but we are just trying to say that we are here, this is our school, this is our way of prayer, this is our way of life, but also including others, embracing others into our way of worship without telling them to become Orthodox. But it is a clever way of doing missions. In the process, the Holy Spirit will do his work, and then we will have some few who become Orthodox in the process, in a very humble way. The other school that we are sponsoring, this school was named after the Bishop of Kisumu, the one who died, Bishop Athanasius. And this is part of the school. Continue. So this is the project that now we are working on, to have a diocese administrative center, which is this one. It was not there before. So I'm establishing a place where it will remain as the center of faith, spirituality for the new diocese of Eldoret. That's why I said new diocese, new bishop, new mission. And so we are working on this right now, and it is a long way. But within 1 year, we are able to do this. So this is going to be the residence of the bishop, where the bishop will be staying, and there will be some offices also here, and this will be the main place for the office work. So we will have a small chapel here for confessions and everything. We will have a boardroom inside here. We will have the office of the bishop inside here. We will have some few offices here. A library is also inside here. So this is going to be the center of everything in this diocese. We started small. Mother Johanna says, you begin small, then you start doing big, 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 big. And we began small, small, small. We bought this land over here, which is next to this one, not far. And then in between here, there is a church of Holy Transfiguration. And I usually tell people, when I come from home, I come to pray in the church, in the middle here, then go to the office. Then from the office, I go for Vespers, pray, and then I go home. So I love it that way, because the church is at the center. So This is how it is. And in this building here, there is a room for Mother Johanna. So this is what we do. The means of transportation is the motorcycles. And so when I went there, I found that there are some priests who don't have motorcycles. So with the little money that I was able to raise from friends, I bought some of them. And you can see these three guys now are smiling. They have their means of transportation. I still have 5 more. And the motorcycle, by that time, it was $1,500. Now it is $2,000. It has increased. So I need like $10,000. Huh? What? Yeah. There are 5 priests, 2, 10. So I still need 10,000 now in order, 10,000? Yes. In order to give the remaining 5 priests to have their motorcycles. Actually, one of them told me today morning, Your Grace, don't forget that I don't have a motorcycle. When you will be coming, bring me a motorcycle. Now, this is the cathedral that we are building. This is the cathedral, and it is coming on very well. The Patriarch actually blessed it during my enthronement. And so we were able to raise some money, through a friend, and his parish is actually helping to construct this cathedral. And he thought that it was small, but now it is a big, big cathedral, and he is like, maybe up to where we have reached, we cannot provide any other amount of money. You need to look for other sources of money to finish it. But I told him, the Lord who began it will finish. There will be ways that will come in, and we shall be able to continue adding brick by brick until we finish. The good thing is that it is there now. So we have a project. We have a clinic now, and it is functioning, St. Marina. We opened it, and it is running. And I remember one day when I went to see how things are going on, I found one lady who was actually being admitted, and I prayed over her when she was down there lying, and we left. The other day, the priest called me and said, Your Grace, do you remember the lady that was sick and you prayed over her? I said, yes. And he told me that I met her today. She was coming to finish her injections, and she said she's been sick for many years, but finally, when she came to this clinic, they discovered her problem, and she's being well taken care of. And I was like, this is so beautiful that in this village, in this far deep place, we have a clinic that people can be taken care of, matters health. And that when Mother Johanna comes to visit,
I do have a lot to do.
So this is the Church of St. Parishes that I was able to build for the last 1 year. And it's a beautiful church, yes, in a village somewhere. And the good thing is that even if it is far deep in the village, I would want to do something that is beautiful, that when people look at it, they say, this is the beauty. This is God. And some people, just by looking at it, become really kind of like, do some research, and they want to find and to know much more about the Orthodox Church. And they end up becoming members of our faith. So it's part of mission doing something good like this. And some of these churches, like if you look at this church here, I found this church when it was this way. And then I had to work on it until we get something like this. Interestingly, this church here, it had been this way for over 30 years. So I went there, and there was an old lady who was there, said, I did not even know that one day when I die, they will take me into a beautiful church. So I thank God that we were able to do something like this, and we just consecrated that church recently. And this is another one that now we are actually, we finished already. This one for St. Nina. So we finished it, and it is waiting to be consecrated. And this is the school of St. Nicholas. When I came to Holy Cross in 2001, I wanted to do something for my people in the village. So I thought that it would be good to build a school. So I raised the money from friends at Holy Cross and who could, send me their home parishes. And I was able to raise money, and we were able to build this school for St. Nicholas. And now we have kids who are studying there, and you can see them. They are here. So we have started moving to the diocese spiritual headquarters. And I love cows. I love farming. When I was in Nyeri, I had cows, and I had chicken. So the same thing, I am also applying it in the new diocese. So the chicken are already there before the bishop, and the cows are already there before the bishop gets there. So when I get there, they will be welcoming me. They will be already at home. So Mother Johanna, we will have enough eggs for you. We are continuing helping children. Now, how do we do this? When people, like somebody was saying, how do we write a check to help the bishop? So the money that come in, we are able to, divide this money for the needs of the diocese. Those who are sick, like a priest will come to my office and say, Your Grace, my child is sick. Would you help me to treat my child? From the donations that we receive, we are able to get some money and help the priest. He may come and say, my son, my daughter wants to go to school. I don't even have transport. From the little money that we have, we are able to provide transport or school fees. So part of this is, you can see these beautiful faces over here. We are educating them. They are now candidates, actually, this year to join university. And so they had come to the residence where I stay to get blessings as they go to school. So we are happy to help, even in a little way possible that we may, as long as we put a smile on their faces. When we have little money, we can help people move from some kind of shelter into something that is semi-permanent this way, but it is better than this one. This is a church. So when I visited, I found that people are praying under a tent. So we were able to get some little money and build something like this as we wait to do something bigger in future. We are almost ending. So these are feeding programs. What we do is to make sure that on Sundays, because children come from far to church, we are able to provide food after church. There is a meal after church. So here you can see these kids are having their meal. You can see these are Sunday school kids, we would call Sunday school children. And after church, they line up, and then we give them a meal. Then they can walk back home. There is no cars. They don't use any means of transportation. They just walk back home and walk back to church. And it's beautiful to see this happening. If you can have all these children come to church, most of them, they come to church knowing that there is a meal. But in the process, they learn about God. They learn about Christ. They learn about the church and become strong as they grow up. So it's a great mission that we are offering them as well. So you can see St. Thecla, where we had the feeding program on Sundays. And this church started small, and it has grown to this extent. And the kids are growing up, and they are becoming strong youth in the church. And we were actually doing baptism here for the same members of this church. It's a great mission. This is part of the baptism. What I did was to introduce them that we have to go to the river for baptism, for full immersion. I found that some priests were just, getting some little water in a cup and they were pouring on their heads. So I told them, as long as we have water, we are not in Turkana, let's go to the river. And they were like, who will go to the river? I told them, I will go myself. And so you can see that I'm showing them that, and we are doing baptism. Then the priest came in. And so they gave me this little guy. And I told them, this is cold water. He is young. He's a little guy. And the priest told me, they don't warm water for the kids in this place. They use cold water. He's okay. When I dipped him into the water, he did not cry. And so this is part of the feeding program, as you can see. It's beautiful. Now, so I found this, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what is this? And I told them I will visit you one day, and then they had to extend this one into a bigger tent. So we did liturgy inside here, but hopefully that in future we will have a church for St. Anne. When I also walk around for pastoral work and see how things are, I also come, to churches that were built many years ago and they are now in bad shape. So we want to renovate this church, and actually my plan is, already they are working on it now as I'm here, and my prayer is that during Easter we shall be at St. Constantine and Helen, and it will be a different outlook altogether. The Church of St. Porphyrios, which is now also under construction, it is going on. And this is Turkana, I was talking about. And you can see little guys here. This one is carrying his brother or his sister. Here, you can see this person here is drinking water. And the water is just from, something small. And you can see this little guy is also drinking water from, this. And they will be sharing. You can see this one is waiting for her turn. But let me tell you that when you go here and you see this kind of life, you just cry. But by the grace of God, they are there and they are happy in their situation. You can see them here. So yes, you can bring it up. We actually went there with the patriarch. We were able to serve a meal, but then here the patriarch was actually offering food. We took a lot of food, and everywhere we went, the patriarch was actually giving them, distributing food to them. If you go to Turkana and you don't give them food, and you preach about Jesus Christ who is love, Jesus Christ cannot be love and I am hungry. How comes people down there in Kenya are eating and we are not eating? So when you go there, you have to be that Jesus who has come to save. Give them food, give them some water. Even if it is for 1 minute, at least Jesus came. At least the Savior came. So that is what happens when we go to Turkana. You can see Father Martin here. Father Martin has got all friends in Turkana. He's been there many, many times, so they know him. This was actually after my enthronement, and we went there with the patriarch, and you can see the warm welcome that they welcomed us. We were walking with the patriarch after. There are no roads, so even when you are driving, you can see, you have just to direct the car somewhere. And this is a small hut for Turkana people. They live inside kind of a home. So there are no roads. You just see where it is clear, take your car there, and you will reach where you are going. And I think that is actually towards the end. That is the end. That is the end. So that is basically our mission work and my work that I'm doing right now in the new diocese. A lot of challenges are there. A lot of need is there. And that is what I was saying the other day at the Church of Annunciation, that every little donation that we receive, we are able to save a life. We are able to provide, education for a child. We are able to put food on the table on a Sunday for a child who comes to church. We are able to offer treatment and give a shelter for people who are under a tent to be able to pray. Sometimes when people think about helping, they look at it and say, how can that be possible? What can my, $50 do, my $100 do? It does a lot. A lot. And I usually tell people, if everybody could be giving something small, and we put it together, we could actually change the world. So I want to end there by saying that my prayer when I felt this calling of becoming a priest and maybe becoming a bishop one day was that to be ordained when I'm still strong, when I'm still young, so that I can run. I usually used to say it that way, so that I can run. And I have found myself, having been ordained at the right time that I was praying to be ordained as bishop, I really find myself running. And I pray that God will continue to give me strength so that I can run and run and run. And when I look back one time, I say it was all for the glory of God. So I want to thank you so much for your support, and thank you for raising Mother Johanna in this parish, who has been very close to us, a very close friend. And actually, I was thinking maybe that she could come and stay with us forever in Kenya, but the monastery where she is also need her very much. But hopefully one day, one time, before the coming of Christ, she will have come to stay with us for some time. So God bless you, and thank you so much for your time, and you can ask me any question or clarification.
Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Anybody who would, yes?
I was wondering about the Muslim population there. I don't know if Kenya has, a lot of Muslims. I know in Africa there's growing Muslims. Is there any conflict, or do they get along? Or?
We get along with the Muslims that are there in Kenya. The only challenge that we have is when we have Muslims from Somalia, crossing the border. Now, this is the group that is called the Al-Shabaab, who they want to go everywhere in the world and to bomb everything. So we have had such cases before, but for the last 2 years, we've had peace. And those who are Kenyans, actually, we are actually living together without any problem, and we don't have any conflict. We don't fight. Only when those ones come. But again, we came to realize that those who are in Somalia, they are inviting our Kenyan Muslims to go to Somalia for training. And then they come back to kill us. That is the problem that we were having 2 years ago. And even right now, we are very concerned because they have been quiet for 2 years, so we don't really know what is happening. Yeah. But for those who are there, we go to the same schools together, we eat together. They are actually members of parliament who are Somalis, and it's beautiful, it's wonderful. And Kenya is 95+% Christian.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was my question. When people come to Orthodoxy, do they have a Christian background, or are they come with no one?
Yes. Others come, like me, who converted from the Anglican Church to the Orthodox Church, from a Christian background. And then we have others who come from, no background at all of any religion. They are just there. Like my parents. My parents were just there. And they were not, let's say, worshiping any, traditional kind of, thing, worship or what. They were just there. They did not belong to anywhere. But when I became Orthodox, I took them to the Orthodox Church, and they were baptized. So we have those kind of cases whereby people come from a completely natural background. They have never heard about the gospel, and they become Christians, either Orthodox, Catholic, or Anglicans, or any Protestant church that is there. But what is happening right now in the new diocese where I am, people are asking this question: where has this church been? Because what I'm trying to do right now is actually remove that light that was under the table and put it on top of the table. And people are seeing and learning what the Orthodox Church is all about. 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, before coming here, an Anglican bishop invited me. They were opening a church. So he invited me and said, Bishop, you are an Anglican before you became Orthodox. So can you come and participate in the celebration of opening our church in the village where I grew? So I told him, well, in our church on a Sunday, I'm not allowed to, miss liturgy. So I will go to liturgy first, and then I will come. So I went for liturgy. After the liturgy, I went to the celebration, and they invited me. And he told me before that when you will be coming, remember, you are going to preach. And I told him, yeah, I will come and preach. Yes. And exactly that is what happened. I used that opportunity very well to show people who we are and what Orthodox is all about. And afterwards, I had left because I did not want to stay until the end. So those who are talking, and actually, telling people how everything was, there is one gentleman who told the bishop, he was an SDA, Seventh-day Adventist. He told the bishop, the Anglican bishop, in our church, as the Adventists, we don't give visitors, any visitor, we don't give any guest an opportunity to preach because he can take our people. So you have made a mistake today. This bishop is going to take your people. So, and now everybody is talking about the Orthodox Church. And my message was there. That's what I wanted. I wanted people to talk about our church, to want to know more about our church, and in the end of it all, we will have one or two who will come to the right faith. Yes, Father.
Where do the teachers in the school come from?
They are from Kenya, who studied. Others came to study at Holy Cross and Vladimir's University of Athens, Thessaloniki, but they are Kenyans. Yeah, but from the Archbishop, who is from Cyprus.
This was curious, have you done any translating of the services into Swahili or other native languages, or is everything in English? One question. The second is, are there some unique things that you do from a music point of view in Kenya that are kind of reflective of the unique Kenyan culture?
The first question, Yes, I'm glad to tell you that the seminary school has helped us a lot, because we invite or we send to the seminary school students from different backgrounds in terms of language. In Kenya, we are 45 tribes, and every tribe has their own language. They speak their own, they say dialect. And so when that seminarian goes to the school, the first thing to do is to translate the services into their own language.
Put them right to work.
Right directly to work. So they will translate from English into their dialect, because we already have in Swahili. So they can pick it from Swahili or from English into their language that they speak. So when I go there as a bishop, I will be able to use Swahili and their language, mixing them both. So I have to learn a little bit of their language if I don't know. So it happens at the seminary school. Like the young man that I was circling his head, he's already beginning translations in Pokot, because he's a Pokot. So Pokot people speak Pokot language. So he's now translating services into their native language. Yes. The other one is, yes, we, that's a very good question. What we do is in our church setup, everybody actually participates in the liturgy. When we are praying, everybody says, Lord have mercy. If we say, let us pray to the Lord, the whole church says, Lord have mercy. We may have 2-3 people there who will be kind of like leading, but the choir is the entire church. So everybody participates. And so what I'm doing personally is to be able to kind of, let people feel, that the gospel is actually shining into their culture. And so there are things that we cannot avoid, like singing, clapping our hands, and dancing in the church. And Mother Johanna has been able to dance a few times when she comes there. And
Can she demonstrate?
No.
So what happens is, to make this really practical, so to speak, yes. For example, when we say during the liturgy, let us love one another, that in one mind we may confess. So what we do is, yes, we do, if there are 2 or 3 priests, they will be greeting each other, and people there will be greeting each other, but they will be singing. And the songs that they will be singing will be about, the song of, loving one another, forgiving one another, thanking God and all that. So we give like 3 or 4 minutes. Is it 4 minutes, Mother John, or 5 or 10? Depending on how, everything takes place. And it's so beautiful to see the whole church lit up, because it speaks directly into the hearts of the people. And then you tell them, okay, now guys, relax. Let us continue. The doors in wisdom, let us be attentive. And then they say, I believe in one God, Father Almighty. And we continue. During the offertory service, where people bring offerings, here in the United States, people come and they put their offerings as they enter the church, or when they leave the church. But for us, there is that point that people have to bring offerings after everything else. That is when people bring their eggs, they bring their vegetables, they bring their everything and money, and who has anything. I have told them, bring whatever you can bring. So bring chicken, whatever you can bring. And this now is so wonderful that somebody can bring a banana. I wish we could have put them all there, and then you could see. And it is wonderful. Yes.
Sorry, But when the girls graduate from St. Anthony, will they be, and go to university, will they be able to find jobs and good jobs? Or will they have to go to Nairobi to work, or can they come back to their homes and?
Yeah, that is the major problem that we have now in Kenya. We have so many graduates who don't have work.
Yeah.
But in the end, we say it is better to have your degree in the pocket than not to have it. So most of the graduates actually don't, they don't have jobs. But now the government is beginning what they are calling it self-employment, like giving some loan to people. They can begin some projects and, be able to do something than being idle at home. But it's a very big challenge right now because what they are actually trying to do is to send people outside Kenya to go and work. So they are actually sending nurses to go and work. They are sending many people outside Kenya to go and work, maybe in some places. And
Chance there'll be clinics?
yeah, and like right now with our clinic there, we have about 3 doctors and nurses who are Orthodox, and they want to go and work there in our clinic. So as our clinic begins to grow, we will be able to have opportunity to offer them a job. And now that you brought about doctors and all that and the clinic, let me finish by this, that when I went to Eldoret, I found a young man who had enrolled in a medical school to become a surgeon. And he had passed very well in high school, an A student, very well with sciences. And when I went home, his mother came to me and said, Your Grace, this young man wanted to commit suicide because I could not continue to pay his school fees. They need a lot of money, and he says that he does not want to do anything else. He has to go for medicine. And so after listening to that, I called the boy and I talked with him, and he really told me that I want to study. I want to become a surgeon. I want to save lives. I want to do this course. So I had to write to a friend. And I thank God for America, that when I came to school, one friend connected me to another friend. And that is how I was connected to Mother Johanna. And Mother Johanna has connected me with you. So it's been a blessing to me to know friends that I can say, hey, can you help me here? So I wrote to a friend and said, yeah, I can help. I can give him some money to do his degree. So by doing that, definitely, even if he will not be able to have a job in Kenya, with all that degree that he will come as a surgeon for 7 years studying, he will even get a job somewhere else and help his siblings and the church and the society. Yeah. So that is basically how it is, and I always say that whatever I am doing, even when I do build good churches, build a very big house and all that, I'm thinking about the future, many years to come. We don't want to demolish a building and do it again. I say when you do it once and do it better. And that is why I do all this, and I know that it will be there for many years, and the bishop who will come after me will concentrate on doing something else than buildings. So I'm doing whatever I'm doing it and hoping that it will remain there for many years and they will be able to do something else. Because we also want to help our people to understand that we can actually begin to build, our own churches slowly by slowly. So I'm actually injecting them the spirit of giving. Even if it is 1 egg, I'm educating them to learn to give slowly by slowly until they learn to do things on their own. So that is it. And I want to thank you so much for listening to me and for helping. God bless you so much. Thank you.